is having that unstructured time so critical for our development?
Yeah, so there's what we've got in our brains is basically we've got what we call a working memory,
Yes.
yeah, which is sort of like your consciousness, what you're aware of at any one moment in time, and that's really limited. And I don't think people realize how limited that is, and that's limited to what we call 7 slots plus or minus 2, or used to be when we originally studied it. So phone numbers, for example, used to be
Yes.
limited to 6 numbers because you needed to use the 6 slots to remember the 6 numbers, and then you needed another slot to dial the phone. We think that working memory's actually dropped down to about 4 slots now because we don't use it in the same way. But your attention determines what goes into that working memory. And your information in that working memory can either come from your long-term memory, which we know is completely unlimited, right? So that's amazing, much bigger than any computer we've got. And that holds all the stuff that we've ever done in our lives. If we've held it for long enough in our working memory to get transferred to a temporary store, so it can get transferred to that long-term memory when we're sleeping. And in your working memory, you can either pull stuff out of your long-term memory and use it and then stick it back in, or you can get information from the world. So we're talking to each other. So we're listening to each other and interpreting that information with our working memory.
Right.
And that's why we're not noticing other things around us.
Yeah.
Because we're focusing on that. But we need to be pulling it out of our long-term memory because that reinforces what's in our long-term memory as well. And that only happens when you're bored, right? When you're sitting by yourself and you're thinking about something, or you're trying to come up with new ideas or whatever. Or if you're having, right, we never have discussions with anybody anymore because we look it up. Whereas what we need to do is be going, so-and-so won the, I don't know, 100 meters Olympics in 19 whatever, and you're like, no, they didn't. It was so-and-so. No, it wasn't. It was they were the year before.
And this is the logic. This is the reason.
So this is the reason for it. This is right, and that's all bringing it out of your long-term memory. Whereas today, if someone says, "Oh, so-and-so," and then you look it up and go, "No, they didn't."
There's no
So there's no reinforcing of our long-term memory, which needs to be done regularly. So we have a strong long-term memory because that's where innovation and creativity happens.
Okay.
Right? You can't be innovative and creative unless you've got lots of information in your long-term memory to connect different ideas and concepts together with.
So, and because we're always on, we're not getting that space.
We never get that space to exercise our long-term memory.
So we need to
do that much, much more.
Slow
down.
Permission to pause. That's my favorite thing at the moment. Permission to pause.